Good afternoon and welcome to Fast Tracking Military Spouse Careers. At MFAN, we are driven by our research to amplify the voices of military-connected families and ensure that they are connected with resources that they need to thrive. One of the issues that comes up time and again for our families is military spouse employment. It's something that helps military families succeed, but has consistently been one of the biggest challenges that they face. Today, we're joined by Eddie Menzer, the Associate Director of Military Community Support Programs, to talk about resources that are available for military spouses who are interested in taking that first or even their next step in their career. Eddie, can I go ahead and turn things over to you for a quick introduction and a little bit about the work that you do?
Absolutely, Aaron. Thank you so much. And it's great to be here today with you and with MFAN, and especially with those military spouses and supporters that are going to be with us and watching today's session. I'm a military spouse. My wife is active duty in the U.S. Air Force. I've been a military spouse for 22 years, so quite a long time. I've also been a Department of Defense civilian for more than 3 decades, and all of that has been spent working within the military family readiness system. From very early on, working in Europe in recreational programs for children and youth, through the last decade within the Office of the Secretary of Defense. And where I found myself at this point in my career is really supporting military spouses in their career and educational endeavors. For the last year and a half, I've been in my second stint as the Spouse Education and Career Opportunities Program Manager for the DoD. I ran the program from 2016 to 2018. And then a little over a year ago, I had the opportunity to come back to the program again. So really excited to share some of the new things we're doing for military spouses. And again, thank you so much for having me on.
You know, Eddie, I've had the opportunity to work with you. You've got one or two little things on your plate that you've been juggling over the past few months. Would love to get started by learning a little bit more about that Spouse Education and Career Opportunities program that you support at DoD.
Absolutely. You know, SECO, as we call it, because when you say spouse education and career opportunities, a lot, it gets really long. So we call it the SECO program. And we really have 5 main initiatives, as well as one new thing we're doing that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But we have 5 main initiatives that we support through SECO. I think the most important thing to think about is that SECO is a virtual program that augments the employment readiness programs at the installation. I'll say this time and time again. Some of the best support you get is face-to-face, one-on-one with an individual. But we also know that our military families and spouses especially are multitasking. They may not be living on the installation, and SECO really gives them that virtual opportunity to connect. So the first big aspect or big initiative of SECO is our Career Center. And we have a career center where any military spouse, active, guard, reserve, and even spouses that have separated from the military within 365 days have access to career coaches that are there specifically to support the military spouse. These career coaches are master's level certified career counselors, and they're there to help a military spouse no matter where they are in their educational or employment journey. It might be a brand new spouse that's trying to figure out what they want to do. It might be a spouse that's been around for a long time, raised a family, and wants to re-enter the workforce. I think the best part of this is that you don't just get a random coach when you connect with the SECO Career Center, you get your coach. We assign you a coach at no cost whatsoever. And that coach is going to work with you on an action plan, identifying tools and resources so that you can really meet those goals that you want. The second initiative is the My Career Advancement Account. Many spouses are aware of this. This is a financial assistance incentive, a benefit for military spouses whose service member are in the active component. And I'll tell you, this is the only program that is limited to a certain subset of spouses. So their service member has to be in the active component, and they have to fall in the pay grades of E1 to E5, O1 to O2, or W1 to W2. And we provide $4,000 of financial assistance for the pursuit of a certification, a license, or an associate degree. We realize that $4,000 isn't going to pay for an associate degree, but it's $4,000 that will assist you. And as we look at some of the challenges many of our families are facing when it comes to economic security, what a great opportunity to be able to access that $4,000.
And Eddie, just to clarify, this is that My CAA program that a lot of people talk about, right?
Absolutely. So my CAA is short for the My Career Advancement Account, another long title taken care of by a short acronym. And it's a great opportunity. And here's where the connection happens. We've got the Career Center. So when you are, when you're an eligible spouse and you take advantage of My CAA, you're going to be connected with a career coach that's going to help you on some of the decisions. I'll be very honest. There are some institutions out there that are really looking for military spouses and are recruiting military spouses to come to their institutions. And that might not be your best expenditure of that benefit. So our coaches are going to work with you to make the best decision. Let's say it's a spouse pursuing a dental hygiene certification. There may be an institution that says, we'll give you this certificate for $4,000. And you say, wow, that's a great opportunity. But there might be other institutions that say, we'll give you that same certificate for $1,500, and you can use the additional $2,500 for another certification, maybe something that's related, so that you're really building a background. We want to help our spouses make the best decision on expending that benefit so that they get the biggest bang for their buck.
And Eddie, this is something that I didn't realize. So you can use the My CAA benefits for more than one certification. So if something costs $1,500 and something else costs $2,500, you can use that benefit both times as long as you are under that $4,000 threshold.
Absolutely. And starting last year, we added 2 additional aspects. So spouses that may have a certification but require continuing education units or CEUs, they can utilize, if they're eligible, they can utilize the My Career Advancement Account to pursue those CEUs. And spouses that have a background but may not have college credit can utilize My CAA to cover the cost of testing for credit. So there's a number of different ways that you can use that. But to your point, Erin, up to $4,000. So you can utilize that for a lot of different things.
That is great. I had not realized that it was so flexible in that sense. I thought you kind of applied for it and you got it and that was it. So it's really great to know you can use it in so many ways.
Absolutely. So the third initiative is the MySeco Career Portal, or the website, if you will. 365 days a year, 24/7, you're able to access the MySeco website. And this does a lot for military spouses. There's a front end where anybody can access an information, but all the magic happens behind the login. So a military spouse creates a login in MySeco through DS Logon. And once they've done that, they build a profile within the MySeco website. And that includes their education, their work experience, their background, all of that information. They can even link to their LinkedIn profile through the MySeco website. And what that does, and we're going to talk about the Military Spouse Employment Partnership in just a minute, but what that does is it allows our partner employers to search for spouse talent based on those profiles. So you get a little indicator that tells you, you need to work on this, you need to build that out, you need to increase that. Anybody that's been in LinkedIn has that experience. We do something very similar, but the result is that we have spouses where recruiters are reaching out to them for jobs they didn't even know existed, and they're becoming employed at the end of that because the recruiter was able to connect directly to them.
That's great. I mean, wow, to have someone reach out to you and to not, go searching for that job. I mean, that's kind of the dream, right? For the career spouse, to have that opportunity to kind of land in your lap like that.
Absolutely. And there's so much more there. We have a resume builder that's designed specifically for military spouses. When we look at our journeys and our experiences, a lot of times there's a lot of volunteer work. You're bouncing around careers. That's a reality. And so we've created personas where a military spouse can go in and find a persona that looks a lot like them. Mm-hmm. And then we have sample job announcements. sample cover letters, and sample resumes of how that persona applied for that specific job. So it really provides you with a military spouse view of how to develop a resume. And we have templates that are not just your standard resume, but skill-based resumes. More and more employers are looking at not as concerned about your work history or even your education. They want to know what skill set you're going to bring to the workplace. And a skill-based resume is great for military spouses because it doesn't highlight up at the top that you had to get a new job every 2 years, and it doesn't set those orange and red flags off that so many HR professionals are focused in on. There's so much more behind that log on for military spouses. I'll say one other thing, and I'll talk about MSEP next, the Military Spouse Employment Partnership. But we have there the MSEP Career Portal, and that is a feed from our MSEP partners. And today, I believe there were more than 620,000 jobs on the MSEP portal when I looked at it this morning. Lots of job opportunities. Some of our partners are huge, like an Amazon that has, a footprint that's massive. But what's really cool is when you click on apply now. So you see a job you're interested in, and it's going to take you out to that partner's website to actually apply. But at the end of every day, we send those partners a list of every military spouse with their contact information that clicked on the apply now. So maybe, you started, but you didn't get there. Maybe you did send an application in, or you did submit an application. They can match up to make sure that they're identifying who military spouses are that have an interest in the positions. It's a great tool. And I'll tell you, since we implemented that about 5 months ago, our partners just absolutely love it because their recruiters, their hiring managers are getting reports on spouses that want jobs with that company. So it's, I can't say enough. For a military spouse, go to the MySeco website, create that profile, and then really start to dig in. And of course, you couple that with the ability to connect with a career coach.
Right. I mean, it is amazing how much is available on that MySeco website. I feel like I'm learning stuff today, and I'm someone who's been on the MySeco website before. So it's just such a robust resource for families. It's really, really incredible. I think the thing that everybody's been talking about lately is that Military Spouse Career Accelerator pilot program that you all have brought out. That's what everybody's talking about when I'm on those spouse pages right now. People are looking for more information. So can you give us some background on that particular program as well?
Absolutely. So MSCAP, as we're calling it, or the Military Spouse Career Accelerator Pilot, we're really excited about this because it's a game changer. We had the authority to implement this in the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act. So Congress gave us the authority, and where that authority really came into play is the ability to compensate military spouses. So MSCAP is a 12-week paid fellowship for military spouses where they have the opportunity to be placed with a corporate host and spend 12 weeks learning about the organization, training and mentorship. And then the goal is that at the end of that engagement, that the military spouse moves into a full-time employed opportunity with that host. Now, that's not always going to be the case, but that's the goal. So we rolled this out in late December. This was an initiative of the Secretary of Defense's taking care of our people. We're really excited. So we're really just, not even a month into it. And it has been just the response from spouses is tremendous. We've had more than in the first week, we had more than 800 spouses apply for the fellowship opportunity. We've got so far 60 employers that have shown interest in hosting fellows, and that might be an employer that wants to host one fellow. That might be an employer that wants to host 20 fellows. So that continues to grow. Military spouse enrollment continues to grow. One of the challenges is that, we only have so much capacity, and we are definitely not going to meet all of the interest. The great thing about this, though, is that we do have 3 years to run this pilot. And so while a spouse may not be placed immediately, there's opportunity over time for that spouse to be placed. So we, of course, are accepting spouses on an ongoing basis throughout the pilot, and we're enrolling new employers. And employers, I think this is one of the great aspects of this fellowship, is that it can be any employer. So we have the Military Spouse Employment Partnership with more than 600 partners that have committed to recruiting, hiring, promoting, and retaining military spouses and providing resources and tools. In fact, MFAN is a Military Spouse Employment Partnership partner and does an amazing job, obviously, of getting the word out to military spouses, which is what we're doing today. But when we look at those partners, it's everybody from Verizon that hires, 10,000 plus people on an annual basis. It's small businesses. It's all of these, so many different employer partners, and we grow partners. Now, the great thing about MSCAP, the Career Accelerator Pilot, is that it's not just limited to MSEP employer partners. We're working with two specific partners to administer the Military Spouse Career Accelerator Pilot, and that is Deloitte and Hiring Our Heroes. And they have partnerships with other employers. So we've really broadened the landscape. And, I'm so excited about the opportunity this provides for military spouses. What I've heard personally from employer partners is that they're wary of bringing anybody in to a new position. But a 12-week interview is amazing. And what it does is it allows that spouse to get in, and we know the business case is there, but we have to convince the employer. And this allows the spouse to get in the door and show all of those skills that they bring, whether it's experience or education, but most importantly, just the soft skills that we develop as spouses and bring to the workplace. Things like, being able to work independently as well as part of a team, multitasking, all of those things that we do every day, they're able to demonstrate to that employer. So we're just so excited.
I always joke around with my husband say, if you want to get something done, get a military spouse on the job, right? Like we've got, like you said, those great soft skills that, don't always get captured in our resumes. So it's great that there's that 12-week fellowship to really shine for a new employer. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are interested in applying. How do you go about becoming a part of the pilot program?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to do it is to go to the MySeco website, and we're going to have a slide that has that URL. And in addition, we'll have how you connect with a career coach and all of those things. But you go to the MySeco website, and real simple, you type in MSCAP. You search for that, and bam, it pops up. It's got all of the registration information. If you've never been on the MySeco website, it'll help you creating a DS logon, all of that information, and you can sign up for the first aspect of the fellowship right there on the MySeco website. And what happens when you sign up, we're going to ask 5 or 6 questions, pretty easy. It takes you, if you have a DS logon already, it'll take you 5 minutes. Sometimes getting your DS logon account can be a little bit challenging, so it might take you a little longer, but you answer those questions and you completed phase 1, and that bounces you. Then you receive an email and your information is submitted over to Hiring Our Heroes, who is really managing the placement aspect. And within typically 2 business days, Hiring Our Heroes will get back to you and collect some more information, and you'll complete that second phase of the application process. A lot more deliberate information. What do you hope to get from the fellowship? Some more of the demographic information on where are you, your experience, your education, because what it looks like is, it's not just taking a partner and taking a spouse and boom, you're together. They look at the spouse's background. They look at the opportunities that the partners have, and they try to make a good placement based on that, so that you're really looking to fill a role that employer needs. So they collect that information, and over time, and it might not happen right off the bat. I think the best part of this is that, an employer might not be ready in January to bring on a fellow, but maybe they are in June. So, throughout the year and throughout the 3 years of this pilot, we'll continue to place spouses with partners. So it may not happen immediately. I think one of the keys to that is you start to engage with our career coaches and you start to take advantage of the other resources that Hiring Our Heroes has, because they have some amazing resources as well. Because as spouses, we have to put every one of those tools in the toolbox. And, it's so taking advantage of everything that there is critical.
Yeah, that's great. And I'd kind of like to double back on that a little bit, Eddie. You mentioned, there might not be a position ready for you as soon as you apply, or maybe, we're talking about career ready spouses. Maybe there's some things that you need to freshen up. I mean, I had a 10-year gap in my resume when I went back to work recently. So are there resources through MySeco that spouses will be able to connect with to kind of get that support while they're either waiting to be placed or maybe to kind of brush up some of those skills?
Yeah, Aaron, another great question. And I'll point back to that career coach in the Seco Career Center. I think spouses are generally amazed the first time they connect with their career coach, because that coach really walks them through an entire inventory of what they have and where they are, and then helps them to create that plan. And it could be just as simple as job search skills or maybe working on that resume. That's what the coach is there to help with. That's on our side with the department. But then you look at Hiring Our Heroes and all of the resources that they have and other organizations. I think sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. There are a lot of organizations out there that are there to assist military spouses. And I'll tell you, a career coach isn't just going to focus in on the DoD resources. They're going to point that spouse and they're going to say, hey, Hiring Our Heroes has a program called Amplify, which may be a great opportunity for you. Or maybe they're going to point them to the Institute for Veteran and Military Families at Syracuse University that has some amazing training resources. So that career coach is going to help the spouse to bring it all together.
That's great, Eddie. And like you said, there are so many resources available to military spouses who are, looking to maybe take that first step in their career or maybe get back out there working again. It's just a matter of finding them all and connecting with the right one at the right time. And it sounds like the MySeco program and those career coaches are there to really help you figure out what's the right next step. But I always find, the best advice I get is always that spouse to spouse advice. So you are a military spouse. You've obviously been juggling your career and the challenges of military life for a little while now. If there was like one piece of advice that you could give to the military spouses listening today, what would it be when it comes to that finding that work-life balance?
I think it's finding your best advocate. And a lot of us don't realize that your best advocate is you. I've had the luck really of being able to maintain a federal career alongside my spouse, who has had an amazing military career. And it has taken sacrifices. It's taking my spouse advocating for me. It's taken me advocating for my spouse. But there's a million military spouses. And none of us have the exact same story as the others. So, taking advantage of the resources, advocating for yourself, creating that plan, identifying your goals, there's a common theme there. It all comes back to you. And, I don't think there's no military spouses asking to be given a job. We want a fair shake. We want an opportunity. We want employers to recognize. And that's what's so great about the work that you're doing, Aaron, and the work that MFAT does, because you are the voice of the military family, of the service member, of the military spouse. And, but it comes back to advocating for yourself.
Eddie, your passion for supporting other military spouses and their career goals just comes through in everything that you do. And the work that you and your team have been doing it's just incredible to see everything that's available. If you are a spouse who's watching today who maybe joined us a little bit late, or you've been trying to take notes and write down all those website addresses, please don't worry. We are going to make this video available online on our social media channels. We're also going to put together a blog that's going to have the video included and links to all of the resources that we talked about today. So this is going to be available to you to go back to check out those resources and make sure you're connecting with just everything that's available to you as you kind of navigate, you know, the next step in your career. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you are incredibly busy and we are just so appreciative of your time. And if you aren't already, please make sure that you are following MFAN on social media, that you visit our website at mfan.org, and that you join our mailing lists so you can be connected with more of these important resource connections in the future. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be well, and best wishes for everything that's to come in the year ahead.